The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show would like to acknowledge the traditional land owners and the leaders past, present and emerging of Ngunnawal, Ngambri and Darawal countries where we are working from today. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
Thursday Night Football, the first ever NFL game on Amazon Prime exclusively. Al Michaels and Kurt Warner commentating this very big classic. You got the Chiefs and the Chargers. What are our thoughts? This is a fantasy beauty, in my opinion.
Have a go at this guy who's just about to become a global sensation as a commentator for the ACT Gridiron League, and have a go at that intro. I
Is
felt like I was listening to Al Michaels.
created in 2 seconds. Yes, indeed.
Brilliant.
Indeed.
This guy's
Thank
in
you.
mid-season form, and he hasn't even
Thank
started yet. We're kicking off this weekend, in fact. So we'll
Man,
get some
Maddie's
post up about
replaceable
it.
at this point. Maddie might be replaceable. I'm
Mate,
sorry.
redundant. I think. I don't. Do you need even anyone else in the booth?
No.
Someone to run you up some tea, mate. Probably.
No, I'm talking about on our podcast. I could just be the host. Might have to
Yeah, that
replace you
too.
there.
That too.
Replacing Maddie everywhere. He's going to early retirement.
Oh, sounds good. I'll just go and be a producer. Time. I'm turning my camera off.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good time talking Thursday Night Football. Catch you later.
All
See ya.
right. Bye, Maddie. Yeah. So, Thursday Night Football, Chiefs and Chargers. Where do we start, Taylor? You
Look,
got.
look, Manjot, I don't like to spook myself very often. We all know this, but I believe if we're going to just quickly touch on last week, I think some really handsome analyst on this podcast predicted a Bills win, and not only a Bills win, by 21 points
Yes, sir.
exactly. I don't know who that guy was, but he must be fantastic at predicting NFL.
Yeah. Also, on the predictions front, I'm going to be honest with you, Taylor. This is completely off topic, but for the second last game of the week, Bills vs Titans. I'm going with the Titans. I'm predicting them. I'm putting that straight out there. I'm
I'm
putting
not.
that I'm putting that straight out because the Titans always do this bullshit where they
Yeah.
just win out of nowhere. So Manjot lost his mind. What is this? What is this third screen on the bottom that's just saying all this BS? All right. Anyway, Thursday night football. We're not talking about
Yep.
Monday night's doubleheader, which is very exciting to me. But Thursday night football, equally exciting. Chiefs and Chargers. I absolutely love this. You just got two great quarterbacks, Mahomes and Herbert. That's just where it starts. And then go running back. It's just a clear victory to the Chargers. Where do you go from here, Taylor, in terms of wide receivers and
It,
quarterbacks?
Keenan Allen is projected not to play because it's such
Yeah,
a quick turnaround after hamstring injury, which sucks because they really
yeah,
need their entire complement of receivers to try and take on this Chiefs team. Uh, it's an interesting one because they're both very good on the offensive side, but I think they're both actually going to be quite decent on the defensive side as well. I actually think even though we've got two very good quarterbacks and some decent pass catches on both sides. I think they're actually more beatable on the ground, these two defenses. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens because I kind of said that last week as well, even though it was two very good offenses, it projected that there was actually a better chance to actually beat them on the ground. So it's more about is it just going to be the offenses not really caring about what the defense is giving them, and they just basically just overpower the other team, or are they going to actually see that as an opportunity? And Austin Eckler basically runs a lot more than he did last week because the Chiefs are actually more beatable on the ground than they are in the air. So it should be interesting. I really wish Keenan Allen was playing, but
me
like you
too.
said, this is an enormous game for fantasy assets. It's a really good way to start. You know, we've got Travis Kelsey there, obviously Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert. This quarterback matchup is just absolutely phenomenal. So I actually picked the Chargers to win the division. So I was really hoping
Same.
that Keenan Allen would have actually been in this game because I actually probably would have picked him, but I'm sort of just still going in two minds about who I think might win this at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup. I think the biggest matchup for me personally would be Derwin James against Travis Kelce. That is where the whole match comes down to me. If Travis Kelce has another big day, I think the Chiefs have a pretty good shot at winning. But if Kelsey's only getting 50 yards, which is still pretty big, if he's only getting 50 yards, that's low for his standards. If they can just minimize his impact just like that, then I think he's gonna be pretty good. I think the Chargers is going to be pretty good. Sorry, I
I think
think
Mahomes
Derwin.
is good.
Yeah,
I think Mahomes will spread it out a lot. Like you saw it a lot last
yeah,
week, even against Arizona. It's not going to be like a consistent just all Kelsey and Hill like you saw last year. It's going to be a lot of Kelsey, but then the rest of it's going to get split pretty evenly around everyone else. So they're going to be a tough team to defend because outside of Kelsey, and Kelsey's a hard person just to put a very good defensive player on because he's
yeah,
so big. He's not going
yeah,
to kill you with speed, but there's like Derwin James, I'd rather almost see him on a guy that normally burns people with speed and stuff because you'd feel like there's a better chance he could sort of lock that down. But like Kelsey is just so big and so good in those intermediate routes there that it's so hard to defend him. Like he's just like him and Mahomes have a mind meld, and even if there's a tiny bit of separation there, or even if there's not, and Travis Kelsey just uses his size to overpower his defender, like it's so hard to imagine them just completely shutting him down. And I know that's not what you said. You basically said if they can keep it to 50, then they've done a good job. But I don't know. I can see it just being all guns blazing again for Kelsey, and I just think
yeah.
the rest of it's going to get spread around the rest of the Chiefs' offense.
And if they just get it down to 50, it's way better than what happened last time because he got 10
Yeah,
catches,
destroyed him.
191 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner in
That was an
overtime.
OT. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a crazy Thursday night game too. They play some very good Thursday night classics, these two. I'm really excited for this one. I think this one will be another classic. Honestly, yeah, it's Josh Palmer is another guy that intrigues me because
yeah, for
he's
sure.
been talked about as a deep sleeper, and this is his time to shine as a deep sleeper. I think he's gonna be a guy that can step into that Keenan Allen sort of target share and get a few things. I'm just not sure though.
How far off is JC Jackson from coming back for the Chargers? Is he on IR?
I think he was on pop or
On PUP? Well,
from
I always get
memory.
confused about those two, but is he definitely out the first 4 weeks?
Yeah, he's just been out for the last few weeks, but
Yeah.
all right, actually, he's got a chance to play. Apparently,
Oh, okay.
he
Yeah, I
was
was
just oh yeah,
wondering.
it was a game time decision. Sorry,
Yeah.
everyone, I forgot, but he was a game time decision to play. But now he's a 50-50 chance apparently. So
Was
this is a
him
huge
him and James in that second? Like, I actually think that's
Asante
going to be a
Samuel Jr. too.
they're going to have a great defense. Like they like you said, like they're being completely underrated. Like they're going to be able to shut some teams down. Like you even look that Raiders offense is quite handy, and they kept them to 19 last week, and obviously
Yeah,
Jackson didn't play. So I actually think they're going to be able to stop teams more than we actually realize. You know, stopping Mahomes and the Chiefs is a bit of a different beast, but I do think they might actually play in some lower scoring games than you realize because the defense is actually going to be quite dominant.
yeah. I agree. And that defensive line, like I had Khalil Mack as my AFC defensive player, a page performer of the week. Forgot my branding there. He was my AFC defensive page performer of the week for a reason. This guy was just absolutely dominating that Raiders O line. I think he can dominate the Chiefs O line. They still got Joey Bosa as a guy I'm not even we haven't even talked about yet on that defense. He's an absolute superstar, the ringleader of that defense for many years. And I think he's got those two are just an amazing duo. And I'm just excited to see that Chargers O line's pretty good too. They kept Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, and that whole Raiders defense is 0 sacks last week. Incredible performance. And that got them on my Good A Gridiron H Performer Team of the Week as a unit because I'm doing O line as a unit. So they were just the best O line in the league, in my opinion, because they're just amazing. So let's see if they can back it up on 4 days rest. It's just going to be an incredible game. Now, kicker, very sad to see Harrison Butker go down. He's a massive start in fantasy. He rolled his ankle, and he's a very game time decision, very close to being out, I reckon. And Matt Amendola has been added to the practice squad. So yeah, Harrison Bucker, huge loss to many fantasy teams out there. Just an absolute terrible, terrible start to the season and injuries for fantasy.
For sure. It's
I want where Matty went, by the way.
yeah, he just wanted to leave it towards us, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you guys are nailing it. It's all good.
I have nothing to add.
Jerick McKinnon's a very interesting prospect in fantasy this week. I definitely agree. He has that sort of pass catching versatility as well. We saw that on the Vikings back in the day. He lost a bit when he got injured on the Niners, but on the Chiefs could be an interesting play. Honestly, I do agree with that call.
He only had 4 rushing attempts in week 1, but I still think he would have had a lot more if that game was closer. Like, they end up giving Pacheco everything basically in the entire second half. Like, they were so far in front, so he ended up with 12 carries and the touchdown. So I think McKinnon will be more involved this week, especially in a closer game. And the Chargers are really bad at defending running backs. They were definitely in the bottom 5 of defending running backs in fantasy last year. I know they've made that a little bit better, obviously, just by making their D-line a bit better, but I still think they're going to funnel a bit. So especially because of how good their secondary is, especially if it's fully healthy. So I can see Kansas City using guys like that to try and beat the Chargers. So yeah, I just thought I'd go a little bit out of left field of some of my predictions on these Thursday night games. See if I can jag something that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, bonus Dr. Good call. Yes.
That's it.
Bonus.
Bit of bonus.
Yeah, a bit of a bonus Thursday night sort of tranquilizer. I don't even know.
How did you guys go?
Hey.
You guys do all right?
Hey, Matty's back. Hey.
Sunning myself.
Yeah, I think I did a good job hosting the show, but not as good as Matty. Matty was great.
I don't doubt you're going to put me out of a job, mate. No worries. I'll just be standing by the registrar's office waiting to get my termination letter.
Man's going to be outside Centrelink every day.
Me and Goggles, mate, we'll be there together. It'll be all right. I'll be with my best mate.
Yeah.
So what did we decide? Is there have we got a winner?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Chargers.
Liking the Chargers. Did you give a score, Manjot?
All right, I didn't, but I'll go 31-27 Chargers win.
31-27. I'm going to go 29-28 Chiefs win.
Oh.
I'm back and forth on this one. I don't have as bold as I was last week with Bills by 21. I was quite confident in them coming in and just stomping them, but this week I actually got a feeling it's going to be a lower scoring game than we think. Like, everyone thinks it's going to be this shootout for fantasy and things like that. Whereas, again, like with me and Manjot mentioned, I think the Chargers defense is probably not given enough credit. I do think that the Chiefs offense maybe was given too much credit because they played Arizona. And I do think in closer games that might be where Mahomes sort of misses a guy like Tyreek a bit more. I'm not trying to break news that they're going to be a shit offense or anything like that. I just think it might go a little bit back more to the mean this week. I've got 24-21 in my mind. I'm just struggling with which way that's going to go. I honestly think if it was Keenan Allen was there, I would have had no worries or qualms actually taking the Chargers because I do actually like them in this division. I don't know. It is a really hard one. It's Mahomes versus Herbert. You know what? I'm going to stick with the Chargers. I actually think they might get enough done. They'll probably use a bit more Eckler this week than they probably did last week, and
I hope so.
That's probably their way of not having Keenan Allen, as they'll run the ball a bit more, and they might even pass it to Eckler a bit more, which they should. I have no idea what was going on last week. I just think it might be a little bit of a come down for the Chiefs, just because everyone assumes it's just going to be all guns blazing all year. So I'm going to take the Chargers in a close one here.
One more thing, home field advantage is the Chiefs. How much will that play a factor?
It will for sure. It always is Arrowhead, unless it's Mariota going there for the Titans.
Yeah, 100%. 2017 days. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that's why I've gone Chiefs, is they're home. That's all. That's the only difference for me, is that they're home.
I think the Chargers beat them there last year from memory, so hopefully they don't.
That was a midday game or something. Yeah.
Gentlemen, all the best. Hooroo.
Hooroo. Let's go.
That was a bit of fun though. We're just like, right, you piss off. I'm like, all right.
That was a good storyline. It's an additional
good.
storyline to this.
You guys
Yeah.
just drove it. I love that.
Yeah, just advertise that storyline in it.
Yeah,
Matty disappears, and then Manjot has to deliver
Manjot
the
takes the
preview.
wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
100%.
advertise that on social media. 100%. That's gotta be.
$1,000,000%.
I think Thursday night previews, just like the extra reality TV sort of drama, and
Just have fun with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
make
I
it something
think-
silly.
just make it. Next week Taylor does it solo. It's a solo Taylor talk.
That can only end in greatness.
That's hilarious. I'd listen to the hell out of that.
Yeah. Who even is playing on Thursday night next week? God damn, it's not even fantasy relevant, I reckon. It's the Browns and the Steelers. Oh, god damn.
Oh, God.
Oh, do we even want to do that one?
Yeah, I think that'll be Taylor talking about kickers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
Boswell,
go-
boy.
Cade
Yeah.
York and Boswell. That's it.
Big
Boswell
Cork
might-
York.
Boswell
Hulk
might
York
be
might want
lining
to-
up for a job like Goggles by next week if he misses another one.
This York kid's going to be the new McPherson.
Yeah, big Cork York. I'm calling it. If someone
I
takes
could do
that,
Cork.
He's
yeah,
got a big cork.
it sounds close enough
It's a
to.
wee bit Scottish.
Sounds big, close enough to BDN.
Got a big cork.
That rhymes and everything. So, yeah, big Cork York it is for
It's a
me.
good show. I'm
Yeah.
going to enjoy listening to this back.
Yeah, this one's gonna be fun. Yeah.
All right, fellas. I'm going to bail.
All right.
Bye.
Western Wankers are shit.
Bye.